In the heart of North Wales lies a landscape carved by time, labour and untamed beauty, and a route that takes you to its seldom explored corners, the Snowdonia Slate Trail. This is more than just a path. It's a journey through history and the natural world, where the echoes of slate miners' grit meet the whispers of the mountain winds. Through this trail, you step into a story written in stone, shaped by the hands of generations, and set against the breathtaking backdrop of Eryri, Snowdonia. I set out to walk the route in late spring, camping along the way. I was searching to develop a deeper connection with the landscape through which I travelled, but never could I have hoped for such an enriching, awe-inspiring journey as the one I was about to undertake. So join me as I explore the wilder side of Snowdonia on the Snowdonia Slate Trail. My name is Abby. I'm deeply passionate about all things wild and have made it my mission to explore and document many of the world's most stunning landscapes through human-powered adventure. Each quest is totally unique. Some traverse exposed moorlands and rugged mountaintops. Others whiz through bustling market towns and historical cities. They see me dive down deep amongst marine life, follow world-renowned archaeological discoveries, and travel through some of the most tranquil valleys and mystical forests accessible only on foot. My goal is always one of discovery and awareness. Getting outside is now more important than ever before, with obesity rates maintaining record highs and mental health issues affecting over 1 in 4 individuals. In building an archive of films, I aim to leave you looking for a challenge, ready to break free from the monotony of everyday life and be inspired by nature enough to want to give back. Ultimately, I want to see you don your adventure boots and spend more time in the wild for the benefit of mental and physical health. I've realised that you don't have to do something crazy or radical to change how you feel about your life. You just have to get up and get out. I face my own trials with mental ill health and chronic pain, as no doubt you'll see on my travels. But alongside building a strong support network, getting outside and taking the time to reconnect with nature has helped me move further along the road of personal discovery. So, here's me inviting you to join me on my adventures as I explore this awe-inspiring planet. There will be hardships along the way, and we're not guaranteed to succeed. But it takes a brave heart and a courageous soul to commit to the unknown. Now all you have to do is decide that you want it more than you are afraid of it. Are you ready? Let's go! That there. Welcome to Bangor, the oldest city here in Wales, which is where I am, and it just so happens to be the start of the Snowdonia Slate Trail, one of the newer trails designated here in Snowdonia, so North Wales. It was designated in 2017. It's 83.5 miles, so I think you can call that 84 quite comfortably, and it's a circular route. And I'm here in Bangor. I've just parked near the pier and there's a free parking spot, so I will return to my van at a later date. But I'm so excited to head out on this trail, because for me, I'm quite familiar with the landscape of Snowdonia when it comes to the peaks and the valleys, but actually having this journey, this process of walking through this landscape, which actually is one of the newest World Heritage Sites designated across the planet, it's just going to be really cool to sort of connect the dots and learn more about the story that has shaped this place, particularly when it comes to slate. We are going to be seeing a lot of rocks on this trip and that's another thing to really get excited about. And you know, I think when it comes to hiking, having a greater sense of meaning and purpose is something that's so important, you know, whether it's the flora or the fauna, the geology, whether it's the culture or the archaeology and history. You know, we all have something that captures our attention. And for me, this trail, I'm hoping is going to, yes, have a lot of history to explore along the way, but there's going to be some beautiful landscapes to see, and hopefully a little bit of wildlife as well. So I'm just going to take in the views here and then actually try and find the legitimate start, because I've just parked here because I can. And I think it starts over there somewhere. I don't know if there's actually a starting plaque, so I'm just going to get cracking. Yeah, 5 days, Snowdonia Slate Trail, bish bash bosh. I said that like I've done it. I haven't done it yet. We need to start. Come on, let's go. Alright, we have found a billboard. So, we're here. I parked there. I just forgot to go to the toilet, which is sad because I need to go. But anyway, just going to walk down the road now and then pick up the cycle path. And that is where the trail legitimately begins. It's not just for the ease of transport links that the trail begins in Bangor, but the fact that its entire purpose is to trace the journey of slate, from the quarries and mines to the coasts and ports where it could be shipped out and exported. From the bridge over the river, that is so beautiful. I'm pretty sure I can see our first Snowdonia Slate Trail sign. Yes, I can. Here we go. That one there. That's us. I'm too little. But it's like a slate cart, and it says Slate Trail, which is helpful if you can if you can read English or Welsh. And we're also on the Wales Coastal Path and the North Wales Path, so heading underneath the bridge that I just crossed over, that I didn't mean to cross over. And essentially this is telling us here about the cycle path. The train journey ends and the voyage begins. So start and finish of your journey. And this is essentially just detailing the history of the old railway that we're going to be walking along. I quite like the act of passing underneath an archway. It's like an opportunity to leave behind the old world and enter into the pilgrimage that is long distance hiking. Here we go, we've got a viaduct here. 24 loaded wagons of slate pulled by horses along this viaduct. Actually this one, this is the new one. Wow, that is so incredible. Wow, you know, it's so special to actually stand in the grounds of something that has literally shaped the landscape through which I'm going to be walking. Like, this is where the slate was carried in its trucks by the horses all the way to the port to be shipped off around the world. Just like that, we're like a couple 100 meters in, a little bit more because I went wrong. But we're instantly transported back in time, literally by the ground underneath our feet. That's exciting. I find that really exciting. Wow, look at that tree. That beautiful oak. Just here beside this industrial building. Wow, that's amazing. With birdsong all around and a small stream bubbling alongside, I literally felt my body relaxing as I walked on along the cycle path. I was grateful for the breathing space, as my mental health hadn't been in a great place building up to this trip, and now, finally on my way, I felt better with every step. This is so nice. Just really walking towards the hills, you know. Feels like we're leaving behind the hustle and bustle. To be honest, I do think that's kind of the point of this first leg to Bethesda. It's just cycle paths, lanes, fjords to get to, well, the hills and out of the urban landscape. On that note, behind me is this really random folly castle thing. Not quite in the mood for this today. Never mind. Okay, we go across this thing Clear that way. Oh, clear that way. Okay, that was easy. I've successfully lived through another squeeze gate, and here we are, just in some pleasant rolling green lands now. It's really, really beautiful in the sunshine. These gnarly oak trees as well in the middle of the fields. It's just ancient. Look at this. That is magical. It's like an oasis.
Admittedly, the first miles were a tad disorientating as I crossed over the A55, under the A5, I walked fields, lanes and tracks, and now crossed over the Afon Ogwyn. Frankly, it was a little tricky to capture it all.
You can see here, this fence is made of slate pieces rather than wood pieces. A really nice way to use the natural resources of the landscape. And it's purple slate. More on that later. Have to be honest with you, I'm like 6 gates in and I'm already irritated with them. The beautiful slate gates that they've created are just that bit too small to fit through with a loaded multi-day backpack. And it's just making things almost dangerous actually, because I'm having to scale and overcome in ways that I shouldn't have to do. So you see what happens is I get into the little space, I squeeze in, I pull the, this is a really tough one, pull it, which actually I can't even manage because the tire thing is too tight, and basically I can't fit, so I'm gonna have to jump it. So my stick goes over there, ciao, and how am I gonna do this? My trail ends here. It's not even close to this. When you're just in a mood for just wanting to walk so you can clear your head and emotion, and this happens, it's definitely a challenge. I'm just gonna have to jam my foot in there. Risk breaking my ankle, I think. Nope. Oh. God. Should not be like this. Thing is, it's so beautiful here. It's just a shame about the stars. Pleasant green pastures on the other side though. Definitely worth the parkour. Alright. See, this one looks a little bit better. Yeah, it's not like a lot extra is needed, just a few more inches, you know, and you can just roughly squeeze through.
I'll spare you updates on all of the gates that I couldn't get through with my rucksack, otherwise we will be here forever, and instead move on to the part where the trail was easygoing and blissful in the beauty that surrounded me.
Just listen to that. Wow. Does it actually get more beautiful than this? I don't really know. See this big mound here? So this is a slag heap. It's basically where waste slate has been piled up and up and up and up. And we're going to see a lot of these shaping the landscape now as we get right through to Bethesda and into the mountains.
The trail eventually took me onto the open mountainside below Moel Faban, with incredible views of the Carnedu and Glidurau mountains, and the extensive spoil heaps of the Penrhyn quarry, once the world's largest quarry, in the late 19th century. Perhaps most special of all were the ponies roaming free and able to run with the winds in their manes. It was a pretty magical experience.
This is where we drop down into Bethesda. Oh, hopefully, if I can fit. The way we've come into the settlement has been so peaceful. Like, I really liked it. But we're now heading down to the main high street, and to be honest, this is quite a milestone. Like, I know we're only halfway through day one, but this is where the trail splits. So it's a circular route, as we discussed earlier, and you can either walk it clockwise or anti-clockwise. I am going anti-clockwise, so I'm off to Llanberis, as I've mentioned, this afternoon for a good snooze. But yeah, it's just really weird to think that, you know, in 5 days, 4.5 days, we stood right back here having completed our Snowdonia Slate Trail journey. I mean, that is rather stunning for a view, just in the middle of a settlement. Snowdon Range behind, and that, my friends, is where we're going, over there.
I was saving my grand tour of Bethesda, with its cafes and pubs, for the end of my hike. But if you do have more time than me, it would certainly make a great place to end the first day on the trail.
Over the river we go. Ooh, and there's a billboard. Hello. Community culture. Welsh is the main language of quarrying communities, with few possessing even a rudimentary knowledge of English. Chapel was at the centre of the quarrymen's social life and not restricted to Sundays, with meetings running throughout the week. As many as 27 chapels originally existed in Bethesda. Wow. That's so nice. Actually, just trying to... Yeah, I should be able to go up here. It's definitely like one of the more trickier navigational parts, just the signs have stopped.
I was using the Hiker app on my phone in order to navigate alongside my paper map, which was a backup. What's really cool about this app is I had the route downloaded offline, so my phone could be on flight mode. And what this meant is I could locate myself at any point where I started to get a little bit discombobulated with which direction I was supposed to go. So here you can see the OS map, 1 to 25, 1 to 50. But what is amazing about this app is the Harvey map is also on here as well. And that just made navigating so much easier, particularly later on in the trip when I was looking for camping places. I could cross-reference the different maps and figure out my location and the best options that I could have for wild camping. So something else we'll come on to a little bit later was this, the historical OS map feature. This just blew my mind on the Snowdonia Slate Trail, simply because I was walking through such a historical region. To actually be able to cross-reference what I was seeing with what the old maps used to say was amazing, as it really enhanced my experience and almost conversation with the landscape through which I was travelling. Anyway, let's get back to Bethesda, or rather trying to leave Bethesda via the quarry.
So look at this, look. Actual slate quarry. That's so cool. Actually, it's not a slate quarry. It's a car sales showroom. I thought it was a slate quarry. In fact, it looked like it could have been, but it's not anymore. It's home to the BMW. Well, the sun is shining and we are climbing away from Bethesda and into the mountains proper now. No, it's genuinely really exciting now. We've come past some really big slag heaps there, and this is it. We're climbing up to the hills to cut over the top to Llanberis. Today in particular just feels like a day of two halves, you know. Reaching Bethesda now and really being on this circuit feels, well, just really fulfilling. I feel good. I think it's nice. And we've already obviously travelled the length of the journey that some of the slate would have taken from the quarry to the port at Bangor. And that's just so cool to have that behind us now. And we're heading really into the hills to explore more of the Slate story. And as I've been coming up the hill, I've been thinking a lot about the men also climbing the hill to get to work in these mines, in these quarries, the largest quarry in Wales, in the world at one point. It's just bonkers. It's so hard to get your head around. I'm here for leisure. Yeah, the people climbing that hill would have been ready for a 16-18 hour workday, 6 days a week, with just Sunday as the holy day off to go to church and be with family. It's, you know, I think when you come to places like this now in the 21st century, and you walk past these massively significant sites of cultural significance, you know, you have to have a moment of gratitude for the freedom and the life that we live. Absolutely, the world has its problems, but the fact that I am walking through here for leisure is something you have to just stop and pause and give thanks for. I think I might use this spot to refill my water bottle. We appear to have hit a waterway. Oh well, just wet feet kind of territory, I guess. Yeah, that's a swamp, not a footpath. I think we have different ideas of... I haven't come here to scuba dive. Oh, oh man, that went right in over the top. Oh my life. Oh, those are thoroughly soggy. Oh my goodness me. I probably could have come round it. Never mind. Yes, the water's cold in case you're wondering. Well, now that we've made it through the squishier bits underfoot, this is really where we pop out off the common land and basically have tarmac and a whole different set of paths down to Llanberis. And you know what I'm looking forward to? I've never really seen it from this angle, so it's going to be so cool to walk down into the settlement from a whole new perspective. Isn't that view just fantastic? Looking down across all the settlements across to the coast. Everywhere you look, there's something new to see. So there's Snowdon in the left-hand side of the corner, or of the screen. That's just mad.
Just in case you didn't know, Snowdon, Wyddfa, is the highest mountain in Wales and the British Isles south of the Scottish Highlands, at 1,085 metres above sea level.
Path is definitely going down now, quite steeply. It's good stuff. Dinorwig. That's my pronunciation, possibly not correct. It was a major quarry. It was actually the second largest quarry here in Wales and in the world. And what we have here is the quarry hospital. So quarrying was obviously really dangerous work and could lead to serious injury or even death. The accident rate at the quarry here was so high that it had to have its own hospital, and this is where they were treated for injuries caused by falls and shifting rock. Ooh, it does feel a little bit like an atmospheric spot. You know, it's just absurd to me that these men working these quarries had no protective clothing, no rights, there was no systems in place, no safety procedures. They just showed up for work and hoped for the best, and sometimes they would end up here at the hospital, essentially looking out over the quarries where they work, reminding every single day themselves as they look out the window that that's what they have to go back for. I mean, it's any wonder they manage to cope, you know? These tracks, for example, the slate would have been moved up and down the steep hillside from where it's quarried all the way down to where it's ferried off to wherever it needs to go.
Before reaching the town itself, the trail passed the National Slate Museum, which is dedicated to preserving and displaying relics of the slate industry in Wales. I happened to arrive too late in the day to enter, but even from the outside, the building gave a stark reminder of the intensity of mining and quarrying here during the 18 and 1900s. Dinorwig Quarry was closed in 1969, but it was in 1972 that the site opened as a quarry museum. The route into Llanberis took me past the Lakeside Railway, and then the Snowdon Mountain Railway, which was built in the 1890s to take tourists to the summit of the mountain. Finally, I popped out onto the colourful high street, though by this point in the day I was too tired to look around and made a beeline for camp, which was a bit of a walk away. Well, via finding food, of course.
Best part of the day, especially when you've had wet feet, is getting your boots off. That is lovely. What a treat it is to be at a campsite. I've had a shower. I feel like I've really caught the sun. I was lazy and didn't put sun cream on. But I'm sat here in my tent, or I'm sitting here in my tent, looking out across almost an unfathomable landscape. I can't even get my words out. But imagine being stood here during the time of that quarry being active. It's like the mountain would have been alive. Over 3,000 men working this quarry at any one time. That is a huge number of people. Everything around me has been shaped by slate. Whether it's the land has been dug up, whether it's homes or walls or fences, whether it's signposts, whether it's parts of the road. Like, there is slate everywhere. Every nook and cranny of this landscape has been shaped by it. And on the one hand, that could seem like, wow, you know, nature is no longer here. This isn't a wilderness. I don't know that I agree. This is our history. How would we be here today in peaceful times? We wouldn't be if we hadn't gone through all of this. And it's wild in its very own sense. Yeah, my curiosity is up, and I'm looking forward to see what else is going to come on along the way of the Snowdonia Slate Trail. Good morning and welcome to day 2 on the Snowdonia Slate Trail. Sun cream is on, I've drunk lots of water, and we've hit the trail. Big day today. We have 20 miles heading across to Bethgelert via Vineflower and Rithy. My Welsh continues to evolve in its pronunciation. I'm genuinely doing my best. I've asked a couple of friends to help me out, but I don't have my notes available right now. But yeah, we'll talk more about those places when we get there. It's 7:30 now, so I've just tried to give myself a good leisurely morning. The tent was soaking wet with condensation as predicted, so I've just let that dry a little bit. Had a couple of coffees. Now it's time to get some miles in. Here we are, first sign of the day, Snowdonia Slate Trail, back on the way. This sort of feels like the first time we've actually got a bit more up close and intimate to the slate and the big heaps that have been left behind by the industry. But look at it, it's just the masses and masses and masses and masses and masses of it that is everywhere. And I remember as a kid we used to walk along on our day walks and get like a bigger one and use it as a tablet in order to inscribe our names and stories and that sort of thing in there, and sort of take them home to treasure. But you know, realistically, slate has been used for all sorts of different things, and we've explored some of those uses already on the trail, and no doubt we'll learn a little bit more as we keep going along the route.
There are many different colours of slate that naturally arise from Welsh quarries. Some names include heather blue, heather red, dark blue grey, grey, green, and on it goes. And the names seem to vary depending on what you plan to do with the slate as well. I struggled to figure out which was which, and resolved instead to just enjoy the beauty of the different colours as they changed with my journey.
So you can really see the views ahead now of the coast, and then here just behind this wall, which I'm too short to see over, the mountains, man. This is just so stunning. Here we go, just entering Llanberis now. This is the outskirts of it. Had to come and have a little look at the railway. It's just so cool that this landscape is dotted with steam trains. Not the best for the planet, but again, it's just such heritage, you know? Choo-choo! Leaving the road and taking this one up. So yeah, a bit of an ascent now into the hills, which is going to be quite nice. I have to say, valleys are just beautiful. They're really luscious, and just the bird song is insane. But then being up high and being able to look back across everything, it's just such a special landscape. It's really nice to be sort of experiencing it all on foot. Bam! Bully bully.
Climbing beneath Moel Smitho, the path was framed by sweet-smelling bluebells, and it honestly couldn't have made for a more joyful scene. That was until disaster struck.
The trail has taken an unexpected turn. Just had many tears because it's been a real push to just keep myself going on this hike. It's beautiful. I can't complain in the slightest about the route. It is so amazing. I'm so glad it exists, but there are just some days where dealing with yourself is difficult. Being in front of the camera has been really difficult, and just generally I'm just not feeling good. And anyway, just did that walking shot. Turned around and I saw my tripod go in slow motion, and this has happened. This is actually just the polarizer that's cracked. I deliberately wear, I don't wear, my camera wears a polarizer. It's a strange language. Partly for the landscape, it's very bright out, but also to protect the lens a little bit from impact. And I've had this happen before. The polarizer has cracked, but the impact of it has completely welded it to the lens itself, and I cannot get it off. I've been trying with my little like crappy multi-tool things. But yeah, it's just not happening. And I know that the last time this happened as severely as this, I was in a B&B and the guy came with his massive, like, is it a spanner thing? And it, like, full body force down on it to try and get that thread to loosen. I'm concerned because it just cost me the best part of £2,000 to get my lens fixed after some impact before. But long story short, I'm here to film. I'm here to make a film. And my lens is, well, I can't. This is the main thing I film on. Right. The trail is now secondary. Fixing the camera is priority. It's time to invest or investigate the human kindness and see what we can do with this. It is a really beautiful spot, just looking down over the coast. I just really hope that we can continue with this. Okay, farm, no one was in. Next, let's try a house. Hi there. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm just looking to, do you have any pliers? I've had an accident with my camera and I can't get the front of it off. It's all shattered. I mean, the one person I've met seems very nice, but she didn't have any pliers or a spanner or anything usable. Right, so when I was sat over there, I was looking at some diggers. I'm pretty sure they were down there. And I'm sort of inclined to just take a risk and have a look. Hello there. I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm looking for somebody who might be able to help me. Well, something ideally that can clamp
go around
that.
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Oh, I can't believe it. I feel like 3 hours have just gone from the emotions, but realistically it's only about an hour and a half, and further as it is off. So obviously I'm not just going to randomly film in someone's home and workshop, but a lovely lady, Susie, hopefully she won't mind me sharing that. Yeah, we went into a barn, managed to use a big clamp, got it off. The relief is visceral. Had a cup of tea with her, just so nice, talking about the world and things, and just feel like my hope levels have gone up a little bit. It's quite emotional. Just really special. Great interaction, and just I haven't actually checked if the camera works yet. I have a spare polarizer, always carry a spare, so I'll get that on now, take a pause and assess the situation. You know, so this is the bag that most people don't have to carry. This is just full of chargers, batteries, leads, heavy things basically. It weighs about 3.5 kilograms on this trip. Dense is the word. A spare. Okay. There we go. Looks like it never happened. And then the check. Let's see if it wants to focus on you. Because truthfully, that's usually the thing that goes. It's working. So relieved. Cool. We can continue with our hike. You know, it's really hard to find the words to describe what this experience is, just what it means to me. Like, if you followed my channel for any period of time, you'll know that miracles happen on these hikes. I've dropped my camera in the ocean and had a scuba diver come and find it for me after 2 tides have come and gone. I have had people donate a caravan for me to stay in the middle of a storm. I've had people give me food and water and cups of tea and love and chats, and on it goes. I don't know, there's not too many examples jumping out, but over and over and over again on these journeys, when something goes wrong, you stick your thumb out, you knock on a door, and you are almost 100% guaranteed to land upon some kind of kindness of strangers experience. The thing that really makes or breaks it is whether you open yourself up to that. It's vulnerable, you know. I'm not scared about knocking on doors. I was once. The only way I've managed to push through that fear, like any fear, is to face it, is to do that thing. And if I hadn't knocked on those doors, then that's it. my hike is over, and I thought, like, I can't give up on something that's proving really hard just because it's proving really hard. There is an opportunity in front of me in terms of those homes, and maybe, just maybe, somebody would be able to help me. And not only is my camera now working and we can continue with our journey, you know, like I say, my hope cup has been topped up. I feel like I've just been reminded that the world is good. You know, like, there is so much crap and darkness going on around us all the time. It depends what lens we want to look through and how we want to exist. And do we want to add to that, or do we want to shine a light in the dark places and be a light in the dark places? And I've been so aware of that on this last day's hike. You know, I knew I just needed to switch my lens, my perspective, to something a bit more positive. Like, I felt rubbish. What voice do I want to be the loudest right now? And choosing that hasn't been very easy for me in these last days hiking. But this is just, it's just rebooted things a little bit, and that feels really good. And just another story to add to the book of stories of how kind people can be. People are good. We have to trust in the kindness of the world. It's the only way to cope. It's the only way to keep going. Well, oddly enough, we are heading right the way through this big slag heap, and some kind of sorting machinery thing here. I know very little about engineering. I just know that that's a machine. I quite like it when stuff's left in situ, actually. Oh, it moved. Hello. Seem to have stumbled upon a bit of an oasis. What is this? So this is obviously part of an old quarry, but the water has filled it in, and it is tropical blue. I can't quite believe what I'm looking at. That is so beautiful. Oh, I can scuba dive in that, because I'm now a scuba diver. That is a very beautiful view. You can see the slate mines again in the foreground now. So I have to admit, I'm doing this a lot because navigating around the slate mines is actually really quite challenging. The signing, it's just been a bit confusing in a few places. I've taken a wrong track like 5 times, I think, so far today. Also had to scale more of those gates and things that I couldn't fit through. Yeah, I think the signing is one thing that's not really a problem. Doesn't matter, you need to be able to navigate to be out here. But those gates are so taxing. Ones like this, fine, just about. Funnily enough though, there's no given rock, is there?
Having survived the gated entrance, I was now in the Dorothea quarry of the Nanchir Valley. The quarry was opened in the 1820s, though there were a number of smaller workings in the area before that. At its height though, the quarry employed over 350 men and produced 17,442 tonnes of finished slate in a particular year, though production dropped significantly after the start of the Second World War, and the quarry then closed in 1970. It was fascinating to walk through the remains left in situ, and I let my mind wander over what life would have been like living and working in places like these.
As slightly anticipated, as amazing as this place is, navigating it is difficult. I'm going back on myself. Fingers crossed we can get out of it. Okay, we're back here again. Now let's try going down here. One way has got to get me home. One way or another. Back up the hill. That wasn't right. This is so stupid. I understand it's a World Heritage Site, but I just think I'm causing more erosion going in circles than I would be if it was mapped. I'm full on making this up now. Some more cottages here, workshops, or the remains of them. Well, not that I want to jinx it, but we are going somewhere on this path, so I'll take it.
Thanks to the Hiker app, I eventually found my way out of the quarry and back onto my planned route.
Well, this is interesting. Just come along the road and just happened to turn around and see this, the Snowdonia National Park sign. This is the second time today that I've dropped into a campsite and very gratefully helped myself, I guess, to the drinking water. It's so hot. Alright, back on the way again. Grateful to these campsites. If there was a donation box, I would donate. Otherwise, I just really hope that they don't mind. I think it's like 3.5 kilometers to the campsite that I'm looking to stay at, which is at the base of the ranger path going up Snowdon. But we'll see. Here's what it is. Just gotta keep walking. I feel good for a little stop and for having just drunk a bottle and a half. Whew, walking into this view, such a strange rugged peak, and behind it is Snowdon. It's almost like Snowdon doesn't get the attention it normally demands. But no, it is quite funny really, this trail. I was looking at the map last night and I could literally have cut across the hills and dropped down to Betws-y-coed, where I was hoping to get to today, in a few kilometers, a few miles at least. But obviously we are walking in the footsteps of Slate and heritage. So we've gone away from Snowdon to do this leg outwards, and now we've come back to Snowdon, and I'm hoping to camp underneath it once again tonight, just in a different place and a different side.
It was truly a special feeling to see Snowdon Urwydfa from this angle on such a pristine day, with the summit building being clearly visible.
This is just so lovely. Look, there's a lake. Where are we? Mordor. Just every direction is pure beauty. The bluebells, the birds, the mountains, the heather, the gorse. It's so special. Now we're dropping down through this, I was going to say pine forest, but there's not just pine trees. This forest, and the campsite's on the other side, just slightly off the trail. I'll be relieved to get there and get my pack off. But yeah, good day. Well, who am I kidding? Freaking amazing day. Camera broke, kindness of strangers. Bish bash bosh.
I had booked to stay at the Tal y Mignedd campsite that sits right in the heart of Snowdonia.
I made it to camp. An hour and a half, maybe 2 hours have gone by since I got here at camp. But anyway, long story short, I'm here. I've pitched up, I had a shower. I had to walk to a pub which is 1 kilometre away in order to pay. Whilst I was there, I decided to get myself a bowl of chips. Now I'm back, I'm sat stationary for the first time in 2 minutes and the midges are coming to eat me. But I am here and it just feels really, really good. So I camped underneath Snowdon at an angle I've never seen before, which just feels so great. That's one of the things I really hoped for with this trail, was the opportunity to join the dots and see the landscapes that I'm familiar with, but from a different angle. And it's doing that, you know, it's really cool sort of seeing it on the map and in my mind as well, sort of mental map. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna finish the evening with a cup of tea and just a breather. There's no service here, which is quite nice actually. I've got my little Zoleo thing, which is a satellite communicator, so I can send some messages to my partner and family, letting them know that I'm here. And otherwise I think I'm just going to be trying to evade the midges. But it's all good, it's part of it. Day 2. Morning, morning! We have Snowdon behind and I'm on the road literally to the next settlement up from the campsite. Great relief to get away from the midges. They were pretty bad last night. It was all over me. Insects seem to love me. It's very annoying. But anyway, yeah, where are we going today? I don't really know. We're just going to keep walking, see where we end up. But I'm optimistic we can make up for the lost time from yesterday and have a really good day on the trail. A few different places we're going through, some open moorland as well. Let's do it. There we go. So we've walked through the village, come out to the other side. There's a car park here, and rather excitingly, back on the Welsh Mountain Railway. Oh yeah, and this is where there's yet another path going off Snowdon, the one we could see from camp. And ranger path is there. There we go. Proof is in the pudding. Follow that sign.
The trail followed a well-graded path around Llanberis before entering the Betws-y-coed forest. It was an ethereal spot.
Look at that. Oh, look at this. Crossing over the railway. That's kind of cool. I never knew I was such a railway fan. I think there's just a bit of a novelty. It's something different on the walks. And all we're going to see is some train tracks. See? Look at it. And then this super helpful sign on the other side. The skeleton, 5 kilometers this way.
With bluebells dancing at my feet, I simply couldn't have felt any more content with life on the trail, and the miles passed really quickly. Soon enough though, I found myself dropping down into Betws-y-coed, supposedly named after a faithful wolfhound dog named Gelert.
It's really quite shameful how happy this makes me, but there's a massive sign saying ice cream. We're going that way, people. It's 10 o'clock and it's time for ice cream. Can you see that? I'm not even gonna zoom in on this because it's that big. Oh no, it says closed. No, it says closed. No. No. You can't do that to a person. You can't promote ice cream and then slap that in my face. That deserves boycotting. There's an outdoor shop. That isn't helpful, I'm already outdoors. When? Why? Why? Let me in. No. Well, as an act of rebellion, I'm sitting on the bench of the cafe drinking coffee from their neighbours. But no, genuinely, really lovely shop, lovely lady hosting it today. And yeah, I'm just chuffed to bits with this. I decided to get myself a little swirly bun thing, I don't know what it is. And just a couple of extra little snacks. But yeah, the nice thing about being here is, I think I've mentioned, there's been no service anywhere for the last day and a half for me. And a lot of these communities where there is no network, they have community Wi-Fi. So I've just actually managed to log on to that now, which is quite nice. And yeah, hopefully I can just download the map for a little bit that I need, because that would be really helpful. So yeah, it's 10:30 now, and I'm gonna hang here for a little bit and then get cracking with what feels like the second half of the day, but I'm actually only really on where I should have been yesterday, and it's today, and we'll just keep walking. Here's to that.
Now here's a cool story. The Prince Llewellyn Hotel to the right of this bridge was struck by a meteor at 3 AM on September 31st, 1949. A £5 piece of metal caused damage to the roof and to a bedroom below. And my question is this: if seeing a shooting star brings you good luck, what does it mean when one lands in your bedroom?
Lots of small independent stores here in this settlement. I really like that. Look at this one, woodcraft. Oh, the Betws Downs. Well, that's a new one. The Cambrian Way. My good friend Anne has walked that trail, and we're obviously still on the Slate Trail because that would be a problem. And we're now in National Trust land. So they've got clearly a little loop from Betws-y-coed around Nantmore is essentially where we're headed for now, and then further up into the mountains. Apparently there's another cafe as well, toilet, it's all going on. Well, I'm finally on my way again. At one point there I wasn't sure I was going to leave. But I have successfully used an hour that I don't know that I had to give, and yeah, pressing on now in partnership with the Cambrian Way, as we just saw. And honestly, Betws-y-coed, I wouldn't have, you know, minded having a bit longer to look around there and not have an annoying heavy backpack. Just a really nice little place. I mean, everywhere looks lovely in the sunshine, but yeah, it's good stuff. Also, this area is known for Gelert's grave, but I'm not entirely sure how far it is off the route. The key thing is it's off route.
Just as I was debating the merits of walking to the grave, a miracle happened. The steam train went by. Finally, not just empty tracks with empty promises, but pure joy whistling by. It really made me feel so happy.
That is so cool. Why does it make me emotional? I don't know. I'm happy. I feel happy. I feel happy today. I feel way more like myself. I'm engaged in the landscape again, and there's a freaking steam train. It's just, why am I crying over a steam train? Actually, steam trains are cool because as a kid we'd always go on the steam trains. It was our properly family holiday treat because my brothers, one of them in particular, he loved his steam trains. That's so cool. I'm crying over a steam train. Over the river. Look at this. It's just, what beautiful weather we've got for this trip. Wow, that water looks so inviting as well. It's quite deep too.
This was the Aberglaslyn Pass, a narrow gorge boasting immense beauty and a truly sensory experience as I walked through on the well-maintained path.
Look at how red the water is here, or the ground at least, coming down. So that's iron. Gosh, that's bonkers. That's really iron rich. And then it just like pools down there. That is crazy. This is so good. Don't look down. There's a cave here. Oh, actually, that goes quite deep. Hello! join the road. Hello sign, thank you for your time. Off we go. You want to smell them? Ah, smells good, don't it? This house looks like an old Scottish croft house. That's probably the original walls, to be honest. Very thick stone walls, small windows. Harsh winters here, and autumns, and summers. At the moment, I've been exceptionally lucky with the weather on this trip and recent trips. And it's not always like this in Wales, in England, or in Scotland. And that's why I just feel super blessed. But you know, there's signs of it everywhere. The trees are generally quite stunted. The moorland is boggy. The buildings are very squat, with big thick stone walls ready for their coal fires to warm the place and lock in that heat. You know, it's a gristled and gnarled landscape. And now into the open hills we go. Oh, I need some sun cream. Look at that. Wow. This place can't be real. I just feel like this route, you know what, it's kind of, it feels like a really cheeky little thing, because it goes around these big boys, Snowdon, Tryfan, the Ogwen Valley, haven't got there yet, which are busy, popular, renowned around the world. And we're just sort of like going around the edges, dipping in, dipping out, just that pen can't catch us. And yet we are enjoying, I am enjoying, and you guys are watching, hopefully, still, hello. So many special little places. I've just come across this waterfall coming down, and it's just the rock and the rhododendron, the little birch tree, and nature. You know what I'm saying? These are very unscripted videos. You know, I have no idea what's going to happen. But it really is so wonderful to share this, and I love this route. I really am enjoying it. Even the last couple of days where I've not felt great, as I said before, it's nothing to do with the trail. The trail is fantastic. The routes they've picked have so much to offer, and today is no exception. And this little waterfall is another one of those things that's just making me smile. It's like, yep, you know what? You don't have to climb the highest peaks and, I was going to say do the longest trek, but this is quite a long trek. But do the gnarliest things out there in order to actually access beauty. This morning was testimony to that. This waterfall is testimony to that. This route is testimony to that. It's not been particularly challenging, and yet there's so much to see. 1 minute you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, the next you pop over the top of the hill, boom, houses. Ah, this looks like a challengingly undulating landscape. Let's build a house here. Also the little nudge.
Leaving Croesor behind, I was now climbing up into possibly the wildest and most remote part of the trail. Ahead of me lay the Croesor Quarry, a large underground slate mine served by the Croesor tramway. Small-scale quarrying began here in 1846, and from there it had a turbulent story of opening and closing, expanding and shrinking, until it was finally shut for good in 1930.
It's dead quiet here. It's quite eerie as well, actually. Especially because that shaft is open and I can hear the dripping water. I'm hesitant to go and look. It's not my cup of tea, that. Such a contrast to the noise and clamour that was probably here all the way up to sort of the, 20th century. It's crazy how quickly times can change, and whilst yes, humans can have a massive impact on the land, after just a short time nature will claw it back, and it's really starting to feel like that here. We were just down there, now we're up here trying to find water. It's got to be the highest we've been on the trail so far. We're probably in the mountains, you know, which is spectacular. It definitely requires a good weather day. That gives you a scale, doesn't it? Wow. As thought-provoking and awe-inspiring as the slate mines are, I'm sort of starting to dread seeing them on the map, because I know that navigation's going to be tricky and the paths are going to peter out. And that's happened again here. I think if Slate Trail organisation could just get permission from UNESCO to whip up a general sign, maybe 1 or 2 per side, that'd be legendary.
Rounding the brow of the hill, and I now found myself dropping down into the Rosyth quarry. This quarry was hampered by its remote location. It certainly seemed a stark place, though it was fascinating to see so many buildings still standing, aiding my understanding of the story of the land. It was profound to walk within the structures themselves, imagining a fire blazing and people resting and singing together after an exhausting day of work. Apparently, the quarrymen's barracks here were the worst in the area. Cold, drafty, and unhygienic. The men would arrive on foot early on Monday morning, carrying enough food to last the entire week. Unlike some quarries, this one lacked the luxury of a train to get to work, so they had to walk, through all weathers, over the rough mountain tracks. The working week lasted until Saturday lunchtime. Conditions here were especially primitive and basic. Mining took place using candlelight, and between 1876 and 1885, the average life expectancy of a quarryman was only 44 years.
Well, we have been slowly dropping down and down and down and down, but we did climb up and up and up and up, and well, that's the last little bit now to the next settlement, which is just in the valley below. All these beautiful slate buildings again. Well, everything here is slate, to be honest. Right, the next settlement is Blanau, and basically my goal is to get through there, and then I can start to think about camping. I obviously want to get away from the settlement and find somewhere properly tucked away. So we will see how we go. It's just so crazy how ahead, well, all around, there are these big mountains and tons and tons and tons and tons of slate. Every possible direction of horizon is just slate. Rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of miners' houses looking out over the place where they worked. I find that mad as well.
Blanau-Festiniog was a bustling place with relics of its mining past everywhere you looked. It's also home to the Festiniog Railway, which is a major attraction to tourists in the area.
Oh, that's so nice. Ah, so all you can see on this mosaic on the floor is all the different colours of slate that you can find in Wales. That is so cool. It really just highlights the difference. Some are yellow, some are purple, some are blue, some are more green. That's amazing. Look at that one. Here we go. Okay, well, you leave the town and then boom, that's what you get. Like, we're literally on the edge of town. This is the last house on the town. There's all these kids on this mound making the most of their wonderful surroundings. Let's go. I tell you what, it's still kind of a novelty for me hearing Welsh spoken by well, everyone. It's just, how cool is that this ancient language is preserved in cultures out here, or communities rather. I just find that really, really cool. Yeah, I've been listening and don't understand anything, but yeah, just so nice to be able to experience that. What colour dye do you use on your sheep? Every colour. They are actually rainbow sheep. Look at that. That's just so funny. Maybe the farmer went, pick a colour, and then they picked it like all those years ago, because actually the dyeing of sheep, I can't remember the actual name, is a hugely historical thing. Every farmer in the area has their own colour and mark that they put on the sheep throughout generations and generations. And sheep farming is such a historical thing. I mean, we've touched on that a little bit already, but genuinely, like how the sheep roam the fells and how the farmers bring them in a couple of times a year, where they lamb, everything. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm very enthralled by the shepherds of the mountains of the UK.
It was now, as I left the town behind, that I began to sharpen my senses in search of somewhere to wild camp for the night.
I've spotted a place on the map. It's not actually as far as I was planning on going. It's not far away, so let's just see how it looks when we get there. It's quite dense and rocky so far. The good thing is it's not a very used footpath. I'm worried I'm going to have to camp on bluebirds though. That'll be very bad. I'm going to try up there, and if that doesn't work, then we'll call it a day. Here's my water. I'm going to drop my rucksack here and just run up quickly if I can find that, hopefully. If this has not got anywhere decent, I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to have to get back down and continue on. It's probably going to be closer to 9 o'clock by the time I stop, which is fine. It's not too bad up here. Oh yes it is. See, this is my problem. Good spot on the map, so clumpy in reality. And this is what sheep normally prevent, is clumpiness. I can't camp here. Right, here we go. Take 2. That did not work. I'm actually really considering, or feeling, that this might be the first time I actually have to knock on a door and see if I can pitch on someone's land. That's genuinely why I didn't want to wild camp this route. I think if you plan it very carefully, you can finish in like the quarries and those upland areas, but they are also a World Heritage Site and you're not supposed to stop in them. So basically everywhere around me, I'm not supposed to stop in it, and that's what's making this quite difficult. Not being funny, but that is pretty perfect right there. Just pitching in the corner. Maybe I would actually just go and ask. What harm can it do? Tent is up. I don't want to obviously disclose where I am to protect these people's privacy, but ultimately the land with the river is a farmer's land. He's not here, so these lovely people have let me camp in their garden, essentially just here at the bottom. It's quite nice because obviously it feels very safe. I'm not doing something I'm not supposed to do because I've asked the landowner's permission. And I think, you know, there's a time and place for wild camping, absolutely fine, up in the moors and stuff, but down here I think I don't want to upset anybody. I'm not here to upset anybody. I'm here to do a hike. So yeah, feels good to have the tent up. I'm just letting it dry now before I put everything in because it got quite wet last night. Right, now the all-important bit. Tonight I have Moroccan main meal by Tent Meals. I can't even tell you how many of these I've eaten. I've been eating their breakfast and their dinners every single day on this trail, actually, bar the subway. Yeah, and it's honestly just so good, so wholesome, so natural, and actually I really like the couscous. And what's just really funny is, because for me, well, they're all vegetarian, but a few of their foods are spicy and just doesn't work for me. So
There's quite a limited selection, and every time I eat one, it reminds me of all the other places where I've eaten one, and I really quite like that. So Moroccan main meal it is. Here we go, stirry stirry, and I'm going to leave that. Oh mate, that's a chunk. What is that? Oh, seasoning. I love this one because it's got like whole walnuts, mango, almonds, everything. It's got the whole lot in there. Pure goodness. Just have to wait. Leave it. Leave it.
It's day 4 on the trail, and I've just wanted to make a bit of progress this morning towards the next town. We're not far away at all, which is Llanberis, and today we are going to Betws-y-coed, or Coed, Betws-y-coed. It's a tricky one to pronounce actually. I really feel like, you know what? One of the things that put me off doing Welsh walks is looking like a fool pronouncing them. Like, but you know, everybody starts somewhere. You have to take risks and make mistakes in order to learn. So I'm doing my best here, and thanks to my mate Tony for helping me out with this a little bit. I basically like wrote down how to say things, and I'm referencing that every so often. Is it working? I have no idea. You can see how dense this forest is. It's amazing. Actually, could have camped there, and then you've got the river. Obviously you're just not allowed, and if someone catches you they can tell you to get off. Here we go, hitting the tarmac, and this is the edge of Llanberis. Right then, back on the trail. Oh, we never left it that way. In other news, this is where we're headed, to the falls. Gate appreciation moment. Look at that, beautiful artwork. You got the mountains, and I guess the river, and I'm presuming these are the trees, the forests. Nice. I'm passing through the landscape. Oh, that's a lovely metaphor. And now a wave goodbye. So we are in a national nature reserve, and what we can see here is I can't pronounce that, I'm not even going to try. We are about to enter one of Wales's rainforests. Did you know that the oak woods here in the ancient kingdom of, oh dear, Mary Noeth in northwest Wales are as globally important and as vulnerable as some of the tropical rainforests? They are home to some of the best examples of Atlantic oak woodland in Europe. This unique habitat is rich in wildlife and highly valued by local people and visitors alike as a place of unrivaled beauty to relax in. Okay, and literally 2 steps on, we are going to go down to the falls and then come back to continue along the path. Ooh, look at that! It's a waterfall. Oh, look at that. Jeez, and now there's just randomly a viaduct. There's so much in this forest. Quite good up this. I saw her on the map and now we're on it on foot. It's good. Oh man, and there's the reward. That is why the route has done this really random V shape. There's a massive waterfall. Woo! Just goes all the way down. Various tiers. That is amazing. Good job. There's the river down there though. The source of all that water. We made it to the road. Yay. Rather large cattle grid. And then we're turning off the road. Wasn't very far, was it? All good. Hopefully we can find our way across the moors. Appears to be a little soggy underfoot, but nothing we can't work with. I'm now heading towards a reservoir actually. I think my plan is to get there. If there's a suitable spot, I'll stop, get my tent out to try and dry it a bit, have a snack and yeah, just regroup before this quite long moorland stretch. The outer's dry on the outside and the inside, and I did put the inner up. Yeah, excuse me. Oh, look at that. It's pretty much dry. That's amazing. No wet tent for me tonight. Woohoo! Alright, let's get this thing down and hit the trail. Very nice lake. We've gained some elevation now. Oh, it's so nice. And then up there is another slate mine or quarry, and actually it looks like it's active today. Let's go take a closer look.
Betws-y-coed is now an open cast quarry, although originally slate was mined here. During World War II, many of Britain's most valuable paintings were secretly stored away here in its caverns for safekeepings. Following the track of the old tramway, the trail then took me by several other disused quarries, and by this point I'll admit that they were all starting to blur into one. I fought hard though not to let that take away from the stories of the people who would have lived and worked here on site. And no matter how pressed for time I was feeling, I ensured I stopped, I looked around, and I felt the energy of the place.
Waving goodbye to these slate mines. Waved goodbye to quite a few already.
As I reached the road, I decided to follow the tarmac rather than the trail itself, which passed through fields on a parallel journey. I simply couldn't face any more of those gates and wanted to cover some ground with a bit more speed.
We made it to Pemachno. I'm actually really enjoying this walking on the road. It's just giving my space, my mind space to wander, and yeah, it's just really pleasant.
Arriving in the village, I made a beeline for the St Tudclud Church, which houses a number of important Roman inscribed stones. There were 4 Roman stones on display, along with 2 others dating to the 7th to 9th century and 13th century as well.
So essentially our route goes, I'm pretty sure it's like up here and then continues along a little bit higher. It might even be slightly higher again, sorry. Yeah, along here or up here. So I'm just saving myself, well, I'm saving myself the gates. That is genuinely one of the main reasons why I want to stick on the road. It's not the walking through the fields, farmlands, tracks that takes a long time. The path generally on this walk has been really good. Is the gates, and I'm struggling a lot with my injury today. It's just knocking my headspace a little bit because it's just really uncomfortable to deal with, and as such I just want to make life a little bit easier for myself, so that's why I'm just sticking to the road. The gates aren't my friends on this hike. Here we go then, the A5, 3¼ miles. We can do it. Let's go. I can't get my head around this trip. Look what's happened now. This is the leg for the tripod that you, my GoPro, are on. This again has happened maybe 2 times in the 4, 5, 6 years that I've been making films. Camera bag, phone, Sony, the list goes on. How?
I was having problems with my phone as well as my camera equipment, as it was refusing to charge. Thankfully though, the Hiker app didn't use much battery, and walking through the forest also felt like a great escape from the technological problems I was having. The only problem with my draining phone battery was that I was using the Hiker app to navigate. Now, one of my favourite features about this app is that you can add, or rather search for, points of interests and trail lines along the route. You click that and you can see all of the different features that you can have highlighted on your trail. So as you can see, I've selected campgrounds, and if I close that, it shows the various campsites that are in the area. I was aiming for Betws-y-coed, and up here, this is the campsite that I was looking to get to for the end of my day. Alongside this feature, I was using the measurement feature. So under options again, there's the measurement tool. If you click that, basically you can pick anywhere on your route. So I was on this road, click that, and then you can click where you want to get to, which for me was the town. And it'll tell you how far it is and roughly how long it expects you to take, which is a really helpful feature when it comes to planning your day and making sure you reach your destination in a decent state. Obviously as well, just having the map here right at my fingers made it much easier for me to learn about the landscape through which I was walking and to plan alternative routes as well. Another feature I was using on that app throughout the duration of my hike was the 3D maps feature. So I like to do this on satellite, so I click satellite and then I click 3D maps activate. And what it does is it basically shows you what the landscape would look like. And so you can see that the town or the village is in a valley there, and that it's a little bit of a walk up a gradual slope to get to the campsite that I was looking to get to. But this feature proved really helpful when I was cross-comparing it with my paper map to find places to wild camp each day as well.
Despite the fact that it's nearly going over, this stuff is wild garlic. I definitely want to pick some. Just a couple of leaves will do me good, and I'll add that to my dinner. In other news, I'm coming back to show you something. Look at this. Private land, strictly no access. I've seen so many signs like this. No canoeing, private land, no access. Oh, but if you're a member of our club, you can come in. And it's something that's getting to me more and more and more, is the privatisation of land in England and Wales, the shutting off of public access to nature. What's really funny is this one says no canoeing, and this is what's made me walk back. So did you know in England we only have access to 3% of the country's rivers and waterways? 3%. The rest is private, it's exclusive, it's elitist, and it's so frustrating that there are people out there trying to privatise even more land and take away more land, and there is no communal access anymore. You know, way back in the days, the land was for everybody. Everybody had grazing rights, everybody could live where they wanted to. Don't get me wrong, it caused scraps and there were always people that wanted to take, but we're seeing it a little bit now across the country where community woodlands are popping up and communities are buying land in order to make it accessible for the community, for the public, because we need nature. We're a part of nature. That can't come at a cost, whether a literal cost of money or anything else. It's a human right to have access to the outdoors. It should not come at a cost, and it should not be only for people who can afford it. This is going to be very controversial. I know I'm going to get some comments on this, but it's time to speak up for what we deserve, which is access to land. It's ours. We are a community. Rant.
And with that, I dropped into Betws-y-coed.
You know what? As busy as this place is with the road, it is a really cool feeling to think that we've walked here from Bangor. Just again, like, this is somewhere I've driven through so many times, and now I'm here and I've arrived on foot, no vehicle involved. It's just such a satisfying feeling. Oh yeah, look, that one's the old surgery. Probably the old surgery house. The old doctor's building. It's interesting. Camping and caravanning. We did it! Day 4! High five! Boom! I just had to I bought myself a can of sweet corn. I'm just like, yep, cool, just me and my sweet corn. And it's very refreshing actually. At home it's just veg really that we eat. I do miss that. Like, the tent meals are great because they're very nutritious and wholesome, but don't know, I just was craving sweet corn, so me and my can of sweet corn. My last breakfast for the trip. It's the final day! We're on our way back to Bethesda, where the route officially joins when we left it a few days ago. Now we've got this roughly mile walk down to town, or we'll pick up the trail again, and I might just have to get myself a coffee. I feel blue-eyed this morning, but it is a beautiful morning and I'm absolutely buzzing to be on our final day on the Snowdonia Slate Trail. Very impressive wall here hemming us in, and that way is quite an impressive drop. So overall, definitely only one way to go. Oh, apparently down. Actually, pretty soon we will be dropping down because we have another waterfall to check out, Swallow Falls this time. Just hopefully we'll take our time and be a little bit slower than me tripping up and falling down the hill. Oh, jeez. Chaos this morning. Chaos! Oh, look at that. Waterfall. Please keep the footpath along the riverbank, not through the middle of field. No worries. Oh, look at where we are. I know where this is. Driven on this road. Oh, the amusement of it all.
The Ugly House is actually a pretty famous spot in the area. The jury is out though as to why it's called this. One theory is that the big, crude boulders are the things that make it ugly. I thought it was quite cute though, but then maybe that's because beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
That's a bit nice, eh? It's so peaceful in these forests. I think my heart just melted. Wild mouse is so cute. I love all of nature, but the fluffiest ones are always the cutest. Oh, melt down. The cuteness. I've never got that close to a little wild mousey before. Normally it's like ding, gone. I'm so happy I have a new friend. Oh, before this trip I was in the Lake District and I made friends with a red squirrel and a hedgehog, and now a little mousey, and we're just a little gang, and oh, I'm so happy.
Sorry about that. Slight cuteness overload meltdown there. Right, back to the serious business of hiking.
So you know what I was thinking? I was thinking if the mousey, the hedgehog and the red squirrel and I are all friends, then the squirrel and the hedgehog can sit on top of my rucksack, or at least the squirrel can, and maybe on my head, and then the hedgehog can sit on my camera bag and just be here to prickle off anybody that is annoying, and the little mousey I'll get a little shoulder strap pouch and the mousey can sit in there, and then we'll just be a little travelling family. And oh, the mousey was so cute. I'm probably a mile on and I'm still melting at the mousey. Oh, maybe I need to eat a pasty for distraction. Pasty, you say? Yes, my friends, I bought myself a pasty, didn't I? Had to be done. Vegan, cauliflower, bish bash bosh. Oh, and chickpeas. Love a chickpea. Oops, this way. That did not work. This is where the mountains begin. This is definitely the grand finale. How can you not get excited about this? It's just so good. It's so good. Weather like this. Oh, blessed. I'm gonna just stop here. I maybe left it a bit too late because I got the fence and then we're fenced in, but you know what? Fence is a part of the modern day landscape, so that works for me. Grubs up. What is it? A pasty? You must be joking. No, I'm not. That is a proper treat. And a very good second breakfast. Happy. Hang on a minute, people. That's Snowdon in front of us. Wow, the great beast that has shadowed our journey. Snowdon is back with a vengeance. We're looking up over Crib Goch. That's pretty cool, actually. Right, let's finish this walk. Capel famous for its Joe Browns. What a phenomenal feeling it is to be here. So the Carnedu is up in front, and just around the corner is Tryfan. And actually I'm looking at across here, this terrain is where I did my mountain leader assessment. I remember navigating a couple of these legs. Just as I'm walking along, I'm looking at the OS map like, oh yeah, that's in context now. Just over a year later. I keep saying it, but what a beautiful day it is. It's just, you know, this place can be really harsh, really barren. There's not many trees, and for a reason other than the sheep. Yeah, this is just as good as it gets. It really is. It's amazing. I'm lost for words, really. It's spectacular. Alright, that one's Tryfan. A real iconic mountain here in the region. A fantastic ascent as well. The north face of Tryfan. Love that.
Tryfan is undeniably one of the most recognisable peaks in Britain, and as such is a popular summit, especially via the North Ridge. However, incidents and accidents are on the rise, as more and more people misunderstand the challenge that it presents and head out ill-prepared.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that make me love this place so much. And one is the fact that it's good to feel small in life. And big rocky mountains like this, including Tryfan, really do the job quite well, making me feel very small, straining my neck to see up to the top. But then also it's just the sense of community. Like, there's runners, there's cyclists, there's hikers, there's climbers, there's boulderers, there's just people camping, and everybody is outside in nature. And once again, there's no service in this valley, so there's no technology, therefore, and it's just that, and its simplest form is people are outside enjoying nature, whatever their chosen sport. They're moving their bodies, and that's what we're built for, so it makes me pretty happy. Oh, look at this timing. How does this keep happening to me? No complaints here. We're now heading to the shores of Llyn Ogwen, so the Lake Ogwen, which is a really good sort of milestone for today's journey. And once we reach the other side of it, it's pretty much only 5.5 miles to go to the end of our hike. This is an amazing rock. Why? Because it's glacial. So you can see how it's all scored away, so it's really flat. And that's basically by moving ice, and you can see which direction the ice moving down the mountain has gone. See these massive slash marks, these striations. Essentially that's just rocks and rubble within the ice, and the ice itself causing that. Isn't that amazing? Just having this here, free to, well, walk on. The footpath literally goes over it. tell you what, I've been looking at this Cambrian way. Looks pretty challenging on the map. Our route, on the other hand, is not. Let's join the road and get across it.
Before leaving the chaos of the valley behind, I ducked into the visitors centre, offering a great display brimming with information about every possible aspect of life in the mountains. It was also the perfect spot for me to take a break from the intensity of the sun, as it was almost 29 degrees Celsius. I was in Wales, people. When does it get to 29 degrees in Wales?
Righty. Let's find this footpath. Oh, found it. Well, it didn't take long to leave the hustle and bustle of that place behind. And Tryfan, too. Tryfan is gone. We're coming over the top, well, through the middle, and dropping down this other valley now. And yeah, we're on tarmac, and it's this very quiet lane that's going to take us the majority of the way to Bethesda. So this is it, really. This is the penultimate leg in my mind. Time to start reflecting, and it's just so mad, really, how on the trail just so much happens every single day, and it's hard to remember it all. It's hard to grasp it all, but it definitely requires just good thought time towards the end, so you can really just take it all in.
The walking proved easy along the lane, and after passing a handful of car parks, I found myself totally alone. It made for great breathing space, and I was able to take in the grandeur of the landscape. Before I knew it, the signs directed me off the road and onto a path that would close my Snowdonia Slate Trail loop, back to the quarries and mines of Bethesda.
I really can't believe that this thing is so close to an end now. Basically, we're just walking around the edge of the quarry and then through the forest, and boom, we're at Bethesda. And my head is just a scrambled concoction of thoughts and my heart of feelings. It's messy in here. Just trying to like reflect and remember everything. But it's like, from all the wildlife that I've seen, from the beautiful forests to the rivers to the moors to the slate mines, which have been so emotive. This trail has really caught me by surprise with all of the different elements that it has to offer. You know, it's got really great amenities. The trail has been very well signed in general. And what can I say? I'm sad that it's about to end. You know, and the human kindness as well, of course, that I've experienced along the way. There's so much. I feel like I have a real story to tell. I just need to dot my I's and cross my T's, you know. Usually when I make these films, I end the video at the end, which is obviously in Bethesda, and I don't feel it's right to end this video in a town. Absolutely, it's a slate mining town, but I think, you know, we've been walking in the footsteps of slate itself, and I think the only place to really finish and wrap this thing up is in the slate mine. And there's Zip World just around the corner, which is essentially the longest zip line in the country, making the most of an abandoned quarry. And that sounds like good fun. I wouldn't mind zipping back now. But yeah, it's really hard to get my head around the scale of which slate has shaped everything around us, and we've touched on it. But this trail, in more ways than one, has exposed me to that story, to the story of slate, and I'm just chuffed to bits. I've loved it. I suppose my takeaway from this hike is just gratitude. You know, gratitude that we live in the world we live in today. It's a hard world, it has its challenges. Every time is a modern era when you're actually in it, and this modern era has its challenges. But you know what, I don't have to go into a slate mine every day to earn my keep and have such a short life expectancy and be at risk of accidents and have no safety procedures. You know, I'm out here for a job, and we all have the opportunity to create our lives, the lives that we see around us, just as Slate has had the opportunity to create the whales that I see around me and we've seen on this hike. And I think that's just the takeaway for me. It's just gratitude. Gratitude for the story, gratitude for the people, gratitude for the natural landscape, the beauty, the weather. I think it's so important to take stock of our lives and just, you know, acknowledge the good things in life, the small but really good things. For the people that worked in these quarries, you know, family and religion or faith or whatever it was, like, these people had things to hold on to, and we do too. We get to choose what they are and put them in place, and then we hold on to them tight and dearly. And for me, hiking in nature is one such thing, and it really has been an absolute pleasure to share this hike with you. It's been an emotional roller coaster, it really has, but an amazing one, a really, really amazing one. And to conclude this thing, I'm gonna put my camera down, because it's jolly heavy, but it works, and that's the main thing. And yeah, you know, I just want to take this moment to say also, I'm so grateful for you for sticking around for the length of this video, for watching the work that I do here with Wild. Wild is my business, is my organization, it's my passion, it's my life. My entire being is dedicated to inspiring and empowering people to get outside for the benefit of mental and physical health. I come out here absolutely to do my own journey of personal growth, but to document a route in order to archive it and in order to inspire you guys to get out and do your own journey. So if you do feel like you're working or living or existing in a deep, dark, dusty, damp, horrible slate mine of existence, then step outside and see the beauty around us, because it's everywhere. We just have to choose to access it, whether it's nature, whether it's community, whether it's something else. Like, we all have our passions, and as I say, I'm grateful you're here sticking around. I hope this has been inspirational for you, if not to come to Wales, then to get out and explore another region of the land that you call home. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe and share this video, if not others on my channel, wherever you can. And of course, straight after you've done that, turn off your technology, get your boots on and get outside and have an adventure, no matter how big or small it might be, because it's all an attitude, it's all a perspective. Enjoy it, folks, and until next time, stay wild. I'll see you soon. Bye. Also, can you see the sweat dripping off me? Like, it's happening, man. Whew.
I had heard that there was a legitimate finish for the Snowdonia Slate Trail in Bethesda that was well worth putting cafes on hold for, at least for a little bit. A mile or so later, I found it. A massive celebration of Slate in all of its glory. What a splendidly evocative journey it had been. Thank you, Snowdonia. Until next time, my friend. Aye.